All right, guys, we're here with the Final Fantasy VII Remake. We just got a little taste of a demo going through the first boss and the bomb setting and everything. What did you guys think, being Final Fantasy VII fans?
Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time, but when I was playing this, it definitely felt familiar, but it didn't feel like a remake. It felt like a reimagining, and that's a great thing. You can definitely tell we're living in a postmodern, uncharted world. So which is really cool because, like, I just didn't expect them to be traveling, and then we'd have this conversation between Barrett and Cloud.
All right, Rick, I know you're big on JRPGs and turn-based, fighting systems and everything. Do you miss that in this, or what did you think of the combat system and the way this plays?
I mean, it was a lot of fun. I still like having my turn-based stuff. Like, I kind of wish it was an option, to be honest, to be able to do it one way or the other. Although I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a really good mix. You've got the action stuff, you got your blocks and your rolls, and then you're using your standard attack to build up your meters. And then once you activate the meter, it goes into the ATB stuff, and everything freezes. You pick your spells, your abilities, or whatever. So it is a really good balance, and I think it'll please people who like either or. I think it's a good mid ground.
Out of things that they've added or changed, whatever that we saw from the demo, we also saw a small tutorial and a little preview and a little trailer and stuff like that in the very beginning, and of course what we saw at the press conference. What's your favorite thing that you guys have seen with this remake?
Who was the Avalanche member? What was her name? Who was Jesse. I've read a little bit that they're flushing those characters out, and I definitely felt that when we were watching the pre-demo.
I always thought Jesse was a boy.
Really?
In the game.
I might have a first, but I knew she was a girl. I've replayed the game since then.
See, I don't even remember. I'm like, we got in the very beginning and Jesse's there. I'm like, who the hell is this person?
Well, she's the one that like hacks in the doors and stuff as you're going through.
But you like having more backstory with these characters that were more background characters to begin with?
They just felt more alive. Yeah, it just everything. It would be really funny to kind of watch like maybe Eric or Calvin like replay the original, because just like Rick said when we did our reaction, it's like playing it. I've always imagined it looked like that.
Yeah.
And they did such a great job of bringing that all for the modern gamer. It's very cutting edge. It looks unbelievably gorgeous. It moves pretty good. So like every time I was crawling down the ladder, I would like rotate around the ladder, look at his wonderful hair. And you know what's funny? It's at the bottom of the ladder there's like the save point. So I was like, oh, there's no save point. Are there going to be save points in this game? I imagine this is a modern, cutting-edge game. Save points aren't really a thing.
Yeah.
So I probably won't see them. But I will miss them. It's always such a cool thing when you saw that rainbow fucking question mark thing.
Rick, out of everything that you've seen, what has been some of your favorite stuff you've seen added or changed about this game?
I think the most interesting thing is when you're fighting the Scorpion boss before you plant the bomb. There's only a little bit, but you have to hide behind a barrier when he does his lightning thing.
Yeah.
And so that only happens once in the fight, but just the idea of having this environmental strategy, like movement, play into it as well. I hope they do a little more with that. I think that was probably the most interesting change. Other than that, it was a pretty faithful recreation. Like, you're still climbing down those ladders.
How'd you feel about like the back and forth between Cloud and Barrett? Because Cloud, he's in the very beginning, he's only doing this for the money. Like, because we got to remember, Final Fantasy is goofy, and I was reading like they're not trying to make it the most super serious thing. Like, it's still going to be goofy. Seeing it in a modern retelling with voice acting, I think it was a pretty good job.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. There were a few repeated lines in combat between the two, but it's still early. There was a lot of artifacting.
You took too long to beat it, Rick.
I was the first one in my group.
All right.
There was a lot of artifacting around Cloud and his hair, but hopefully that'll all get polished out and things. Other than that, it was beautiful.
As far as the two characters and stuff like that, did you have one that you liked playing more than the other one?
I mean, I'm kind of partial to Cloud, but I really enjoyed switching to Barrett and firing stuff that had that was out of range.
See, I found that I spent a lot more time on Barrett than I did on Cloud, but I usually like playing more range characters to begin with. So I was wondering what you guys thought, or if you guys just switched a whole bunch, or if you stuck more to one character or the other.
I only switched to Barrett to feed his meter for the Thunder. I did Thunder, I'd switch back to Cloud. So I was Cloud most of the time.
The ATB meter, that feels so much faster than I thought it was going to happen. Because I would just hack and slash. I'd look, this shit's full.
One thing about the ATB that I found really cool too was that when you're playing Cloud, he has a triple slash thing. And I did 2 on one enemy that killed him, but then he automatically turned to the third and slashed that guy too. So I didn't waste any damage. So I thought that was really good.
And Cloud can also jump pretty high. Like, there were a few of those flying guys, and as long as they weren't too high, he would jump up there and do like a Dante move.
Oh, really?
Slash him, yeah.
I didn't do that. I didn't jump. Nothing. I was on the ground. And I switched to Barrett. I just shot stuff.
I just want to mention real quick too, like it's apparently been announced that the first release, the 2 Blu-rays, is just going to be Midgar.
I remember playing when I was younger. You're there forever, and then you get out. You're like, what the fuck? You got a world. So it's a wonderful thing. They're taking their time expanding. Yeah, when we first did a reaction, we didn't know that. But yeah, so that's a huge deal that Midgar is 2 Blu-rays. How many games have more than 1 Blu-ray right now?
I mean, not very many. Blu-rays hold a lot, you know, and then most of the other stuff they either just download or something onto the system. So
Yeah, I can't think of any.
I can think of a few things back on like PS3 and Xbox 360 that had like 3 discs still or 2 discs or something like that. But
Lost
on
Odyssey
PS4, I can't really think of anything currently. So last question I have is there anything you've seen so far or what you guys played with that you don't like about the game currently?
Nothing I don't like. They're just like Rick. There's things I miss that they couldn't put in a modern game. So just being such a fan of the original, I think they're doing everything right. I wouldn't change anything they've done because you need to update the game. But it looks great so far. Like in my head, my imagination's going wild with like what I've seen of this game, how great it is. Like Rick mentioned, the environmental stuff. Like can you imagine on the crazy bosses, they go wild with that. We had these big battlefields.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, and just in my head, I'm thinking like, what can they do with like the little bit I've seen and expand on that? I'm super excited.
Rick, anything that you're not liking so far?
I can't think of any negatives, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, you know, it was pretty self-contained. We were in there for like 10 minutes, maybe. But from what I saw, yeah, they're on the right track, definitely.
All right, well, good. All right, so guys, that's what we think so far on Final Fantasy VII. Before we wrap up, I'm going to ask these guys if they have any other last thoughts. So is there anything else you guys want to say?
I didn't notice the fanfare play whenever I finished like an encounter.
That's true, I didn't either. The music they had for the battle was kind of like a remix reminiscent of the battle music and stuff, but there really isn't much as far as like the da-da-da-da-da. Like I didn't hear any of that. Now maybe it's because we didn't get to that point and it kind of cut early or something, but I did miss that.
The music was great. One thing that Final Fantasy does, like they always tease these little things from the old Final Fantasies, like music and like Muggles. What are those fucking things?
Yeah.
I almost said Muggles. I've been watching.
Not Harry Potter.
Muggles,
Yeah. So like we see those. So I imagine like they'll have some kind of like self-referencing thing.
Yeah.
The music sounded great. What did you think of how the limit breaks looked? Like I wanted to be like this cinematic.
Well, did Clouds have that? Because Barrett's, I felt, did. Like, it cut over to Barrett. He was like, all right, let's go. And he, like, charged up and then shot. And I don't know what Clouds looked like.
Clouds, well, it looked like his other one, but it didn't have, like, a unique camera angle or anything. It was still in the same sort of camera angle that the rest of the fighting is in. Whereas in the other ones, like, when you would summon Bahamut or something, it would go out and you would see the whole Earth. And then he would be flying over or whatever. So I hope they have a little more creative uses with the camera.
Do you think they're going to have all of the weapons that they had? Do you know how many weapons there were in Final Fantasy?
Yeah, and like, will it change on the character?
Because, some of these weapons can hold, like, so many materia.
Yeah.
So are they going to animate all that? It sounds crazy to do. I would understand if they said, you know what? We're keeping the Buster Sword because it's a classic look.
Yeah.
And we're just going to update it. It's going to level up.
It levels up with you, and it's part of the leveling up system.
Yeah, I kind of hope that doesn't happen. I like all the new weapons. Like remember the nail bat?
Yeah.
Had no material slots, but that thing was great. So, like, for me, I'm wondering if they're going to have all of those. Are they going to have Bahamut, Neo Bahamut, and Zero Bahamut?
Yeah.
I want it. I hope they do. But if they just had one, I would understand.
All right.
We'll see.
Well, guys, still a lot of questions on what they're going to do with everything. We haven't seen any summons yet or anything, so are those going to be a big part of it? Are we going to see any in the future soon? But cinematically, looks great. Gameplay's good. We enjoy the music. Pretty much no real negatives with what we've seen so far from the remake, so we're really happy and really excited for its release in March. All right, guys, thank you. Keep tuned for more E3 coverage. We're going to be trying to get as much out to you guys as we keep going and seeing more stuff, finding more things. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
See you guys later.